Welcome, everybody, to the Cellcast. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Cellcast. I'd like to introduce our host, the man who has a crazy bet for a sidekick, Drew.
Why, thank you. And of course, also joining me tonight on this episode of the show is my co-host. He's just always seems to be falling apart at the seams, Jacob.
Why, thank you.
Oh, how are you doing tonight, Jacob?
I am doing fantastic.
That's good.
It has been a very long day.
I have had a very busy weekend, and next weekend is not. It looks like it's also going to be very busy.
Yeah.
In fact, either before or after this episode, not really sure how it's hitting. Probably before. You probably have heard our first Cellcast short on our top 10 movies of this century.
Mm-hmm.
So that's because I didn't have time to edit the show because I was going to a friend of mine's wedding.
Yeah, which is completely understandable.
Yes. So, if schedule seems erratic, not that anyone listening to this in the future will care, but that's what's going on.
Right.
So, what have you been watching, Jacob?
Well, if you follow us on Facebook, the Cellcast, our Facebook page, I posted my first kind of a semi-review of Netflix's The Dragon Prince. And I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was thoroughly impressed. With apparently, it was co-written by one of the writers, actually, of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, the story itself, it's set more of a medieval time. The animation I was like, okay. The animation's okay, it's enjoyable, but it gets a little fidgety every once in a while in a certain film we're going to watch later, or review later.
Yeah.
But you kind of skip past that, like a friend of ours, in his kind of, commentary of the show was, you kind of look past it because the story is that good, and I cannot wait to see what lies in store for our 3, what lies ahead for our little band of heroes.
Okay.
What have you been watching?
Well, with my busy schedule, I just barely this afternoon actually got something. Okay. But before I get to that, I did continue watching. Last week,
right?
I brought up an anime that I'd watched a little bit of called My Roommate is a Cat.
Yeah. Meow.
That I had only watched up through episode 4 when we recorded that one.
Yeah.
I watched 2 more episodes in the intervening time. One of those being one of the most heartbreaking episodes I think I've ever seen.
Huh.
If there wasn't such a thing in this apartment as pet fees, I would be the proud owner of a cat after watching that episode. Because that drove me to wanting a cat far more than the ASPCA Sarah McLachlan commercials.
Yeah. $400 for a pet deposit? I don't think so.
Yeah. For that kind of money, I'll just stick with Jacob as a dog.
Hey!
It works. Okay, moving on. But other than that, I just barely got in watching something I had been meaning to watch for the past, I think, year and a half. I need to look at. I think they didn't launch this last year. It's on YouTube. It was actually put out by Sega. Mm-hmm. It is the Sonic Mania Adventures. It is a 6-episode miniseries of each episode is maybe about 2 or 3 minutes long. Kind of in a Looney Tunes-esque type of comedy, but with no speaking. So it's all music and the characters acting. It is funny and hilarious, and it's something every person needs to watch, even if you don't like Sonic the Hedgehog. You'll enjoy it. It's fun. Now, of course, if you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, there's tons of visual Easter eggs throughout the whole thing. Oh, look, that's that thing. Oh, look, that's that sound effect from the game. Oh, look, that's sweet, Amy. The Christmas episode was a little sweet, but also funny.
Okay.
So, yeah. that will probably be on a shorts episode at some point if we do decide to do like a mini review or something.
So that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So
on to the news.
Yeah, let's do that. So what's in the news?
The biggest news actually affects, to some degree, the movie we're reviewing today.
Yes.
As in about 4 hours, if my timing is correct, from when we're recording. For you, it's already happened, because it'll definitely have happened by the time I get this edited. 20th Century Fox is officially now part of the Walt Disney Company.
Mm-hmm.
Which kinda, in a way, qualifies Anastasia as being a Disney princess, maybe? Maybe not. She'll be the worst Disney princess movie out there, but hey.
Okay,
I may be giving a little bit of foreshadowing to my opinions of the movie.
Maybe. But that does give kind of good credence to, because for years, when Anastasia was released, people always lumped it in with Disney.
Well, to some degree, it was made to compete directly with the Disney princess things.
That's true.
It very much follows a lot of those things. Not to get too much into this before we actually get into the review, right. But she's now officially owned by Disney, so that could make her a princess.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, if Disney does...
I mean, there is at least some precedent for them doing this when you consider Merida with Pixar, because that's technically a separate studio within Disney.
Yes, that's true.
But, so, there's a chance they could do it, but I have a feeling they won't, considering there's some princesses owned by Disney that still have gotten the shaft. So
that is true.
Hint, Penelope.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She's technically not a Disney princess, despite the fact she should be.
Yeah. Well, technically, she's a president, but still.
Technically, you want to get right down to it, Mulan's not even a princess.
I agree.
She's not. In order for any of these characters to actually be a princess, they need to either be A, of the royal family, or B, marry into a royal family.
I agree.
Pocahontas counts because she is the chief's daughter. That's true. That's a ruling person. Yes. That makes her essentially a princess.
Yes.
Moana counts because she's the chieftain's daughter. Same difference, but different kind of thing. Mulan is not royalty in any way, shape, or form.
She's a soldier.
And even before that, she's maybe the town's mayor's daughter? Is she even that?
Yeah, something like that.
She's just the daughter of a wealthy guy in the town,
literally,
who can't go and save and stand up for his family.
Yeah,
and
she's too old,
right? And she marries or assumes to marry. The Prince Charming character in the movie is the general of China's armies, not a princess. In order for her to be the princess, that general has to be the emperor's son, and that's never shown.
Yeah.
It's implied, but not shown.
Yeah, Anastasia's more of a princess than Mulan.
Grand Duchess, but close enough. She was the daughter of the
Tsar Nicholas II.
And so technically there wasn't a princess.
Yeah.
But that's the closest thing you're going to get to it. She is the daughter of a person who's controlling the government. That makes her princess.
Sure.
For all intents and purposes. So if you're going to tell me that a character who's called a princess has a princess song now.
Yeah.
And is the ruling person of a land now that technically never had a king, so it makes sense she would still be a princess, despite the fact she's calling herself a president. I'd like to point out she was not elected.
And she kind of went turbo.
A little bit, yes. But, and that's the other thing, she did leave her post to go hang out in another video game.
Oh, because I was bored.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that's great. Really, that doesn't change the fact that she's a princess.
Spoiler for Ragnarok 2.
I don't care. That's a movie everyone should have watched by now.
True.
I can understand some other movies, but not that one. That was an amazing movie. Okay, anyway. So, Anastasia.
Yeah, let's get into this thing.
Why not? You go first.
Okay.
Might as well start off with some positivity.
So, where do we start with Anastasia?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is based on a true story. There was a young lady in Russia named Anastasia who was the daughter of Tsar Nicholas II.
True.
And she did, as best as can be found, she did go missing. There was a rumor that she was still alive,
yes.
but it was thought she was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, the movie goes with the rumor saying, yes, she's alive.
Yes.
And tries to get there, but goes short of changing history by saying, and she's gone.
Yeah.
But officially, it was discovered that she did die. The person that was most well thought to be Anastasia, the fake, was eventually discovered she wasn't, but was not officially
denounced
until the 1980s. So, yeah. Not exactly movie material without a lot of adaptation.
Right.
And plus, Rasputin did die during the uprising.
Yeah.
Also, this was during the communist uprising. They very, very close get to say the word communism, but because they don't want to, they still want this thing to show in Russia and China, they don't say the word communism. Yes. They just say, oh, it's red. I hate all this red in our government. And they say comrade all the time. It's like, okay.
We know where we are now. Yeah.
As a child, I wouldn't have gotten this, but as an adult, I know what's happening.
Yes. The true, the real life Rasputin did drown in a river, but according to history and according to legend, that it took a lot to kill this guy. Like, a lot to kill him.
Well, if as the movie shows, he sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah, that's true.
Boy, that's dark for a knockoff Disney princess film.
Yeah, that's true. I sold my soul!
And turned into a skeleton and then somehow got my body back. Huh? What? I know it shows what happened, but at the same time, what? Couldn't you have just had your eyes glow for a couple minutes to show you're evil now? Or eviler?
Yeah, eviler.
Right. Also, am I supposed to sympathize with you? Because I don't. Most villain movies, you sympathize with the villain.
Yeah, that's true.
Even Mother Gothel, I sympathize with to some degree.
Yeah.
I hate Rasputin.
Yeah, Rasputin, you really don't.
The only good part about Rasputin is who played him. Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Great Scots!
Yes. Like, we're just this short to this being an adventure that was never recorded in Back to the Future. Where Doc Brown just went really nuts and decided to kill the Grand Duchess, daughter of Tsar Nicholas II. Claire must have died and he went nuts. That's my guess.
That's what Back to the Future Part 4 should have been.
Yes! So just so you're aware, Anastasia is Back to the Future Part 4. That is staying in. Okay, so back to the actual movie.
Okay, so...
Or back to the actual topic.
Yeah, back to the topic. It was directed by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman, which these two have teamed up on multiple occasions for other films. So let's figure out what films they've done so far.
Okay, well...
So Don Bluth, he has directed many animated classics such as The Secret of Nim, 1982, American Tale in 1986.
I still haven't seen Secret of Nim.
I watched it when I was very little, and it was scary. It was a very scary film for me.
See, the thing, I read the book, because we had to read it in school.
Okay.
And I was told, don't watch the cartoon, it's not as good as the book.
Huh?
Okay, there's a movie? I don't know about this movie. There's a movie with rats and science? Lab rats? What?
So, he did the first The Land Before Time, which is the first movie I ever saw in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
He did All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yes.
He obviously did Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
And the last project he did theatrically was Titan AE.
You left off the best movie.
Oh, what I miss?
Rockadoodle.
Rockadoodle, okay.
I enjoyed that one as a kid.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Rockadoodle.
It is a very fun movie. It's kind of silly, but
okay.
what movie isn't? Especially animated. But he also, just to bring this up, directed a number of video games
Right.
that were really more cartoons with...
That's true.
Well, to nowadays, we would think of them as the little cheap DVD games that come on the little DVDs you put in your DVD player.
Yeah.
In fact, they
point.
re-released some of these as that
Yeah.
at some point. But the big one is Dragon's Lair.
Yes.
And it's 2 sequels.
It had sequels?
Yeah. Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp. And I think there's a third one, but I can't find it on the list here. Oh, and I forgot. The other one that I wore out of VHS on. Banjo the Woodpile Cat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's done for quite a few films, but originally he worked for Walt Disney Company, and apparently he got fed up with management and quit, and brought a bunch of the 7 old men with him.
Mm-hmm.
During, I believe it was the...
sometime after Rockadoodle, because Disney technically produced that.
Really?
It's one of those where they technically did it.
Yeah. But
it's not one of their numbered ones. I think it was actually released through Touchstone. I could be wrong. All Dogs Go to Heaven, I think, had the same deal.
It looks... Let's see. The movies he was associated with Disney was Robin Hood, Winnie the Pooh, and Tigger 2, The Rescuers.
Rescuers has got to be done by us at some point.
Yeah. The Rescuers as well. The Rescuers Down Under.
Mm-hmm.
That was an incredible film. And directing animation on Pete's Dragon. The last one he was involved with was 1978's short, The Small One, which I've never heard of.
The Small One, that's the one of the donkey that helped get married to Bethlehem, right? I think I watched this one when I was a little kid, because I saw that on the list too, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember that movie. Vaguely. Very vaguely. I think I was forced to watch this one. I think I watched this one against my will.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're correct, because I've never heard of this.
Yeah, I vaguely remember watching it in a church.
Oh, okay.
I think that's when we were going to First Church of the Nazarene in Tyler.
Oh, okay.
Could be wrong. But anyway, so...
to go to his partner in crime.
Yeah. His partner in crime on a lot of these was Gary Goldman.
Mm-hmm.
He helped with Titan AE.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also co-director on that one I brought up, Rockadoodle, and All Dogs Go to Heaven. In fact, pretty much he's the co-director on all of his
Don Bluth's projects.
Don Bluth's projects, because he's done nothing else. He even helped co-direct the worst Don Bluth movie. So that would be A Troll in Central Park, by the way.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of Don Bluths I had never seen.
He's a hard one to follow because he was all over the place. He was at Disney for a while. Some of the stuff came out through Fox. Mm-hmm. Some of it came out through other people.
His own production company.
Yeah. He's still around.
Yeah.
But, they are currently trying to produce or direct a Dragon's Lair movie, but I have no idea where that is at this point.
Alright. So Anastasia was released on November 14th, 1997.
Mm-hmm.
It had a runtime of 94 minutes. It had a budget of $50 million, and it box office at $140 million.
Now, I have a question, and this will and this is the one thing I did not think of until just now.
Okay.
And it actually will help me inform part of my opinion. What was the average animated movie's budget at this period? Do you know? I don't.
No, I don't.
I'm wondering if the budget on this was low in comparison to some other stuff, because that would explain some stuff. Hercules!
Oh, it's Hercules, okay. So, what kind of budget do they have?
That's the question. Well, it probably is huge, because it's Disney. But, budget was $85 million. What did you say Anastasia was?
That was, it had a budget of $50 million.
Okay, so it's, what is that, 50, 67, 35 million less than Hercules. It's not that much, but
no, it's not.
It might be just enough to explain some of the choices.
Okay.
Some of the very obvious money-saving choices
that
I think occurred in this movie, which we'll get to in a minute.
Okay. So, let's get into our cast.
Yes. So, playing Anastasia was Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what I've seen her besides this, obviously.
I
know I've seen her in a bunch of stuff.
I've seen Meg Ryan in Top Gun. It was one of her first films.
All right.
She was in Courage Under Fire. She was obviously in Anastasia.
Sleepless in Seattle.
There we go. That's
from
a lot of people
the main
know.
one. Okay. I'd forgotten that was her. Okay, so, normally she's a pretty decent actress, I think.
Yeah, I would think so.
This one, I'm sorry to say this, there's parts of it where she sounded bored in the studio.
Okay.
It's just that's how it sounded like to me. Most like in the scene where they're trying to disconnect the train.
Okay, I can hear that.
Her acting in that's like, it's like, you're about to die. If you can't stop this train, you should be a little more excited about what's going on right now.
Yeah, but also in the character's event, she is a little sarcastic about everything.
Yes, but when I'm a very sarcastic person too, as has been pointed out to me a lot. I usually in that instant, if I was in that instance, I'd be thinking, okay, we need to do this now because we're going to die. I'm not saying she should be Indiana Jones, but a little more of that would help.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think she did fairly good in the role.
Yeah.
She was really the only actor who I actually had any issue with, just because of that one scene.
Okay.
At least voice-wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought her story was interesting, although I kind of saw it coming.
Yeah.
For ways. What'd you think?
Her character in Anastasia, she really didn't have. She had character development, but very little character development.
Almost all of her character development was in her remembering her past.
Yes. That was about it.
For the most part, her character did not change when she remembered who she was.
No, she didn't. She remained the same.
In many ways, I hate to do this because they're entirely different movies, but
okay,
there's a lot of similarities between her story and Rapunzel's story in Tangled.
Okay.
Think about it. They both don't know that they're the lost princess.
Yeah, that's true.
There's, admittedly, they both know. I think they both just know they're not the lost princess. Oh, and their Prince Charming character is not that charming.
That's true. They're both kind of roguish thieves.
Yeah.
So
there's some similarities between the characters,
and they have a kind of a cool, at the same time cute sidekick.
That's right, the dog.
The dog, Puka.
I forgot about Puka. So yeah, and Puka's a very much like
Pascal.
Pascal, thank you. Sorry, I should look this stuff up. So yeah, he had this kind of thing. In fact, they both saved their character at one point, their princess at one point when they are nearly about to die.
True. He is a very faithful little pooch.
Yes, for a
pint-sized runt.
Well, I was thinking stray.
Yeah, he is.
So all of a sudden, just shows up and says, "Hey, I'm your dog now."
He's like, "Hey, what was the line?"
Like, "Oh, this dog wants me to go to St. Petersburg."
A sign, anything.
Yes. Oh, a dog wants me to go to St. Petersburg, or should I go to the fish market?
St. Petersburg.
Yeah, let's go to St. Petersburg.
All right.
That's better than going to where Mrs. Flem wants us to go.
Oh, gosh.
That's not her full name, but that is essentially the character's name.
Yes.
It's like, you even spelled it like Flem.
So, John Cusack.
Yes, as Dimitri.
Yes.
I think he was bored, too. Except he wasn't just bored for one scene, he was bored the entire movie. I honestly, this is going to sound bad, I don't believe he actually fell in love with her.
Okay.
I can see you're not following me on that.
I'm just wanting, what is your reason behind it?
I mean, admittedly, he does make all the right things at the end where it's like, no, I don't want the money. I don't want the money, no. I'm just going to go ahead and do the right thing, and then I'm going to let her be with her prince. Or her grandmother, in this instance. I'm thinking of another movie that had the prince. So my brain switched to Spaceballs for some reason. Because he didn't take the money either. Anyway, what was I saying? Dimitri is who we were talking about.
Yeah, Dimitri.
I mean, he's got a pretty decent plan to have Anya, as we know her at that point, pretend to be Anastasia because she looks exactly like her.
Yeah.
They haven't figured out that the thing around her neck goes in the jewelry box.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, put it in the box. Can't you see it's the same shape? It's the same gold and green. Put it in the box. How stupid are you? And that's the other thing. He should have caught on a little bit fact. It's like, he saw her when they were children, knew who that person was, and he still didn't make that connection that fast. It still took him to get all the way to Paris, and her happened to remember the story of how she escaped because the lady asked her how they escaped the siege. He goes, "Wait, are you Anastasia, really?" Despite the fact the entire time, "Oh yeah, you're Anastasia. You remember that, don't you? We did all this cool stuff." I don't want to down this movie that much.
Oh, okay.
But it's hard not to make fun of it when you're not really a fan.
Yeah, I understand. With Dimitri's character, I do like that he starts off kind of just a roguish character. I'm gonna do this act just because I want to get at St. Petersburg, and
He wants all the money.
he wants all the money, of course. And then he starts slowly over the course of the movie, he actually starts to fall in love with this girl.
Yes, but I just thought of something else.
What's that?
The money was rubles, right?
Right.
They're in France. He can't spend rubles in France.
Well, it can be...
Because rubles was the currency under the Tsar.
Yeah.
I don't know what the money was called under a communist regime, albeit I'll admit.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it wasn't rubles.
No, it wasn't rubles.
Does she actually have any money to give, is my question.
Maybe it was more...
Or she got one heck of a line of credit going.
I never thought of that.
That just occurred to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Nicholas does have... I mean, not Nicholas. Dimitri does have a very interesting character arc throughout it because they always play in the subtle background that be like Dimitri and Anna. Now I'm doing it.
Yeah, except this is an entirely different name. It's Anya.
Yeah.
It's the Russian version of Anna.
Yeah. Anya.
Anya, whatever.
Anya. They play
the meme goes on.
Yeah. The meme goes on. Dun, 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 dun.
Anyway.
How they develop this relationship of how two people who just can't stand each other. Mm-hmm. Cannot stand each other.
Fall in love with each other.
It's
the romance of the century.
Yes,
That's
I know.
Going to go nowhere. Sorry.
You're good.
I expect you to be the sarcastic when it's a movie I like that you hate, by the way.
I got you. Yeah, I personally, I do enjoy his art. I really personally do enjoy his art. And then we get to Kelsey Grammer's character.
Yes, Vlad.
I love the character.
Admittedly, Vladimir is not the name I expect for a good guy. Yeah. Thank you, Dracula.
Yeah, that's true.
So you calling him Vladimir. I'm thinking, okay, Vladimir's probably just a normal name, and probably if this Dimitri guy is a real person, I have no idea if he is. He might have a friend named Vladimir that worked in the palace.
Yeah,
fairly normal name, I'm assuming. The only reason I have a downturn for it is because of Dracula.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the guy that Dracula is supposedly based on.
Yes.
Anyway,
Vlad the Impaler.
Yes. Kelsey Grammer did a very good job in this, even though I knew it was Kelsey Grammer the whole time.
Mm-hmm. No, obviously. And I think to Kelsey Grammer's credit, he's the only actor in the movie who actually sings his own character.
Yeah.
Everybody else has their own individual, independent voice actor.
Which is good in many cases.
Yeah, I would agree, because I'd be like, honestly, I don't know what Meg Ryan sounds like as a musician.
I have a feeling Christopher Lloyd can't sing.
No, that's why they brought in Jim Cummings.
No, correction. That's why they brought in the second singing voice actor for Scar.
Yes.
And it says, I'm sitting there here. I guess we're switching now to Rasputin. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, that's fine.
But,
it's a perfect transition.
Yeah. I'm sitting there going, the one song I thoroughly enjoyed was the villain song. The Dark of the Night.
Yes.
Even though it's got some odd lines.
Yeah.
You don't understand about cologne moving for that smell. That's an odd line to throw in there. But hey! It's so fun. I mean, it was villain songs are one of those hardest songs to do right.
Yes.
Because they've got to be catchy. They've got to be the kind of thing that the kid's not supposed to want to sing, but he's having a hard time not.
Yes.
But the adults don't care because they understand where he's coming from.
Yes.
And they will sing these, and if they're like me, they'll sing these songs in the car as loud as they can go because they memorize them until 5.
Yes. Remember those years.
Yes, and when we get to Lion King, you may hear a rendition of me doing Be Prepared, just as a teaser.
So, be prepared!
Exactly. And you're triggering me because my mind goes, hey, be prepared, we'll be prepared. For what? For the death of the king. What, is he sick?
No, we're gonna kill him!
Hey, I stopped it there for a reason, because that's where my brain finally stopped and could say, that's a teaser, folks. If this makes it into this episode. If it doesn't just go straight to blooper reel. Hey. But yeah, Rasputin, I thought, and Christopher Lloyd played Rasputin.
Yeah.
Main thing I know Christopher Lloyd from is Back to the Future.
Great Scots!
But also what I know him from is his role as Reverend Jim Ignatowski on the show Taxi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever watched that.
I know about the show. I've seen clips. I've probably seen 1 or 2 episodes.
It's an interesting show. I mean, he doesn't show up until, I think, season 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's not one of those in the beginning, but he was a fun character. The premise of that character is that he was a reverend who got slipped a bad brownie, and he had a bad reaction, and he's kind of drug out. Catch what I mean? So he's, imagine a drugged out Doc Brown as a way of looking at that.
Right.
And imagine that for every episode, but it was fun to watch. But the other thing I know him from was from 1984. Commander Krug in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock.
Yes.
Which he's got some wonderfully Christopher Lloyd-esque lines.
Yes.
This is supposed to be the main villain of the show, and he's going... And he's just like, I'm Christopher Lloyd, and you know it. For this entire thing. I'm going to get you, Captain Kirk.
I think you're missing one very crucial role he did.
Okay, what's that?
Judge Doom in Who Framed Roger
Well,
Rabbit.
I didn't forget that. I was going to come back to that.
Okay.
Let's face it, he is a murderer.
Yeah. When I killed your brother, I talked just like this!
You are going to scare the neighbors. Yes, but that is that is a movie on our list.
Yes, that will
come up pretty quickly.
Yep.
Oh, and did you ever watch a movie from 1994 called The Pagemaster?
Vaguely. I remember vaguely watching it.
He played the librarian, who was also the big wizard at the end of it.
That's right, because that was Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, that was the Macaulay Culkin one. That's the one that's also got Patrick Stewart as a pirate book. Whoopi Goldberg as a fairy book, and I can't remember who played the zombie book.
Okay.
I'm going to look that up right quick. I'll be able to find it, because the character's name was easy to remember. Horror! What do they do? Put these in order? Oh, Frank Welker. Frank Welker plays horror.
Really?
He plays a zombie book.
Oh, okay.
Can't you see that? Oh, and Leonard Nimoy played somebody. Hang on. I saw that as the spinning switch, so I gotta go back. Who did Leonard Nimoy play?
He didn't play Galvatron.
Oh, he played Dr. Jekyll.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was a Joe Johnston movie. No wonder I liked Captain America: First Avenger. Same director.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so back to where we are.
Yeah.
And of course, playing Bartok.
Yes.
Was Hank Azaria.
Mm-hmm.
Who, if this will come up fast enough, I'll be able to say he I think he played Homer Simpson, didn't he?
He did.
And a couple other characters.
Yeah, he was in... primarily, it looks... Yeah, he primarily was just in...
Well, I mean, that was his money-making role, was Homer Simpson.
Yeah,
and he played a lot of stuff in The Simpsons. But I know he also played in Futurama, the Robot Devil.
Oh, okay.
And if I'm remembering correctly, he plays Gargamel in the live-action Smurfs movies.
Really?
I believe that's him.
Huh.
I'm trying to bring it up so I can say for sure that that's who that is.
Yeah, apparently Hank Azaria has been Bart Simpson since his inception in 1989.
You mean Homer Simpson?
Yeah, Homer Simpson. I don't watch the show. Never have.
Homer's the father, Bart's the son.
Yes, I know.
Bart is voiced by a 40-year-old woman.
Oh, okay.
Correction, I think she's 60 now.
My apologies. For someone who never watched the show.
Yeah, he played Gargamel in the live-action Smurfs.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Hey, I didn't watch it either, but I know that much because I was old enough that's what was being talked about in school when I was a child.
Yeah, I kind of just... Anyways.
You overhear things, is all I'm saying.
Yes, I agree. Apparently, Kristen Dunst played the younger Anastasia,
who I primarily know from playing Mary Jane Watson in the Spider-Man trilogy.
Yes,
and Bernadette Peters played Sophie. The main thing I know her from, I believe she played Rita in Animaniacs. You know, the singing cat.
Oh, okay. And obviously, we can't forget Angela Lansbury.
Yes. Who she played the Dowager Empress.
Yes.
Marie. But what I know her from mostly, despite the fact I know some of the other things she has played, I know her as playing Mrs. Price in Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Ah.
You ever watched that movie?
No, I didn't.
It is essentially Disney trying to cash in on Mary Poppins without actually doing a Mary Poppins sequel.
Oh, okay.
Which is why, if you haven't seen Mary Poppins Returns yet, the fact that she's the one who has the cameo appearance at the end of the movie and has the line about how, the adults will forget this tomorrow, is such it hit me in the heart when I watched it.
I gotcha.
Look, it's the knockoff. She's the one who gets the cameo. We don't get the original Mary Poppins or the guy from Guardians 2. What's his name? I'm Mary Poppins, y'all! That guy.
Oh!
He died in the movie. What's his name?
Yondo?
Yondo. Yeah,
Yondo.
Yondu. Yeah. You don't get him either. I can't think of the actor's name, but I don't care right now.
What I know, Angela Lansbury is obviously from her hit run of Murder, She Wrote, and also she's played a pot.
Yes,
Pots from
which I have a question for you to consider between now and whenever we get to Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
What happened to the rest of the kids?
Yeah, they were all plates.
Well,
and
cups. The only cup we saw was Chip.
Yeah.
That survived. What happened to the rest of her kids that are in that cupboard? Just think about that between now and when we do that episode.
Ooh. Okay.
She had a lot.
Yeah, I saw that. I never thought of that. Never thought of that. That is something to ponder over.
Yes. That's all the big names I'm noticing here.
Yeah, I don't think there was anybody. There was.
So, this has to be the only princess film that it's out there where she doesn't take the princess role at the end.
No, she rejects it.
Yeah, which is odd. Now, admittedly, I don't know how Princess and the Frog ends, since I know that's a depressing ending, but I haven't watched it.
No, I've
but
watched
I guess
it.
technically she's still a princess at the end, isn't she? Well, she married...
She married the prince.
The prince. So that makes her a princess, but no one knows it.
Yeah, with that movie, I was highly disappointed with the ending.
Yep. Okay.
Because it shoehorned everything in. So we'll get to that when we review it.
We'll get to that when we get to it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the only one I can think of where she's not a princess at the end of it, despite legally being one.
Yeah.
But no one knows it. I guess she just goes back to being Anya.
I guess so.
Does she have money? in France?
No, not that I know of. So,
did the Dowager Empress say, "Oh, I know when they got the money. It's when they went shopping. She forgot to return the change."
Okay.
Well, where else did they get the money? They had to borrow it from the Empress. Sophie's the one who took them shopping.
Sure.
Where did she get the money?
Yeah, had to
get it from the Empress.
Yes.
Who is still technically the Empress, despite the fact there's no empire.
Yeah, that's just kind of weird. But,
one thing I do want to bring up.
Okay.
Could this movie have done with a couple less songs? In your opinion?
Well,
the reason I say that is I think on average, I think there's only about 5 spoken lines between each song. On average. Most of this movie's runtime is music.
Yeah.
There's only a couple lines where it's not, but I don't know. It just seemed less musical and more opera.
Well, for me, it'd be like, I've thoroughly enjoyed the songs.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that the songs were bad.
No.
It's just, there might have been a couple too many.
Possibly.
For the sake of the story, the sake of the show.
Just personally, like, I thoroughly enjoyed the songs. I thoroughly enjoyed that the songs did tie in with what was going on in it. And I really enjoyed the music. I really, really did. And there again, I always get Dark of the Night stuck in my head.
Yeah. Dark of the Night's the best song, I think, in the movie, personally.
Yeah.
And it's one of the better villain songs in history, I believe.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It's just not... the rest, some of it's like... Most of these songs, I don't think I'll remember in the next couple days. Here's a couple I know, because I remember... I'll definitely remember the Music Box song.
Yeah.
Can't think of the name of that one.
Once Upon December?
Once Upon December. I'll remember that one. But admittedly, a lot of that is because, well, I don't think I actually talked about my early experiences with the movie.
Okay.
I think we skipped that.
No, yeah, we did.
I'll go ahead and touch that now. Most of my early experiences with this movie were waking up in the morning, getting ready to go to school in December, and for some reason that being considered enough of a Christmas song for them to play it on the music video station my dad watched every morning.
Okay.
It's like, I remember watching this and going, wait a minute, that's not Christmas, that's barely winter. The only reason this is on here is because it has the word December.
It's like having Let It Go being a Christmas song.
And it's not.
It's not. I agree.
Just because the video, the music video takes place in snow doesn't make it. And just because the word December is in that doesn't make it a Christmas song.
Yes.
But then, and we've had this debate before, that does butt up against the idea that Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's true. But
which I'm still in the no camp on that, but hey, it's beside the point.
Yeah, I grew up in the opposite camp, so.
Yeah. And then I did eventually get to see it at somebody's house on a VHS tape.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, this is and I didn't watch it again until we watched it for the review. So, I'll admit, I did not go into the movie with high expectations.
I got you.
Usually that's helpful.
Yes.
But I remember that song, and I remember Dark of the Night. I'm not sure any of the other ones are going to hit for me. Especially the Paris song is especially bad. Let's just say bad. It's not the word I was going to say.
Yeah, that work. That's the one song that kind of was flat a little bit. It's the one song that goes flat with it.
It's like, really? You're trying to sell me on France the way Annie, the musical Annie, tried to sell me on New York, and it's not working here either.
So, my experience with Anastasia, I think, if I remember correctly, I remember seeing it on TV at one point. Mm-hmm. And then I remember renting it at a rental store, which I so miss rental stores. I love those. rental stores.
Oh, rental stores.
Yeah, movie rental stores.
Okay,
movie
sorry.
rental stores. Because obviously, it'd be like for young people listening that movie rental stores were a thing back in the day. Obviously, Blockbuster. If you saw the new Captain Marvel movie,
Yes.
because then you could go into a movie rental store, go and just find a random movie. Oh, this sounds good. Oh, this sounds good. Instead of Netflix, and be like, oh, here's a suggestion. Go watch this.
There's only one bad thing about going to Blockbuster to look for movies.
What's that?
They had all their anime as being rated for adults only.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they didn't want to guess, and why would Blockbuster screen its movies?
Yeah.
But they had so many complaints about anime as not being for kids. Not that it ever said it was. That they said, you have to be an adult to rent this. To rent something like to rent My Neighbor Totoro. The most kid-friendly kid movie that ever did kid movie. Which you'll watch eventually.
Yeah, eventually we'll watch that. So I eventually wound up buying it on VHS.
Yes.
And then we were on a school trip to Dallas, and we were at the mall for
that narrows it down. There's 300 malls in the Metroplex.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank which mall it was.
Was it Grapevine Mills?
Yes, it was.
You want to know why I guessed Grapevine Mills?
Why?
Because that's the only mall I ever went to in the group.
Oh, okay.
It's like, everyone's going to go to Grapevine Mills. Why? It's close to the airport? I mean, I really don't know why we ever went there. So I take it back. We did go to Town East once with the drama group because that's where Chick-fil-A was on the route.
I gotcha.
To Wichita Falls.
So I'm making my rounds through there, and get on the bus. I bought my stuff, and we're like, Jacob, what did you buy? What'd you buy? All the guys are leaning over. They're like, okay, so I got Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. They're like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
And then the other one was Gundam Wing Endless Walls.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's manly.
That's manly.
Manly movies.
So what's the third one? Anastasia. What? Like
Dancing
They were like, huh? That's a Disney movie. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay, Jacob, you're a loser. Never mind.
Princess movie.
We thought you were cool.
How do you know it's a princess movie? Did you watch it?
So yeah, that's my fond memories of Anastasia, and I believe
I didn't have any.
Yeah.
I have memories of being annoyed by this movie before I ever got the chance to see it. And I really should talk about the one thing that really killed the movie for me. Just to get it out of the way.
Go for it.
The animation.
Okay.
On one hand, it is very Don Bluth, which for the most part is fine.
Yeah.
The problem is...
Okay.
They had... Okay, so a lot of times the 2D animation, this is the first 2D movie we've talked about.
Yes.
A lot of times with the bigger budget stuff like this, what they'll do in order to get accurate character movements is they'll have people actually act out the scene and then essentially draw the animation over them.
Yeah.
That works with something like Sleeping Beauty, which is the most well-known film to use that technique.
Yes. Rotoscoping.
Yes, well, not exactly rotoscoping, but yes, essentially that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here, with the Don Bluth animation style, everyone is very bouncy.
Yes. You mentioning that, yes.
Here's the thing. If this were a 3D movie, I could easily blame all of my problems on what's known as in 3D films as the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Which essentially shows how creepy a visual image is in 3D.
Yes.
Normally, I could give something like... I could excuse that if this were a 3D movie. I could excuse it with that excuse. I can't here because Uncanny Valley only refers to 3D, but somehow it's doing the same thing.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, honestly. It's like the eyes aren't moving at the same point the nose and the mouth are. Some of the shots, if you were to hit pause, I'm not convinced the face would be on the body, the way they're bouncing up and down. It gets really bad with Rasputin. because his body parts aren't attached as it is.
Yeah, they kind of float everywhere.
Like floating everywhere. But then, so you expect a little bit of that creepiness with him because he's a zombie.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be expecting that with the Dowager Empress. And there's a couple shots of there, it's like they're going, are you sure you haven't died yet? Or, for that matter, Anastasia herself. It's like, why are you bouncing this much? You're on a flat ground and y'all are just walking. Why is all this happening? Why is there all this movement? This movement's almost too fluid. It's like they fast-forwarded the footage when they went to animate it. Because it kind of reminds me of that soap opera effect in live-action stuff.
Okay.
Where, obviously, they recorded it and sped it up for when they actually edited it into the movie. It kind of has that feel to it. There's so much that when you hit it together produces this effect that makes me go, this is off. And I'm going to spend the whole movie trying to figure out why it's off.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And so there's the other minor things. As you can tell, there's a couple of cost-saving measures in here where they obviously use 3D to do some of the more complex stuff like cars and vehicles.
Yeah,
backgrounds. And then just colored over that. Just did the wireframes to create it and then painted over it to make it match the rest of the animation. Yeah. There's a couple of those shots which are fine, but they are obvious, which is not something a 2D film should do in 1997.
Yeah.
Because Hercules had that, and you have to really look for it. Which, as we noted earlier, came out the same year.
Yes.
It's just, there's so much of this awkwardness in that part. It's like, it distracted me so much, I almost didn't care about the rest of the movie.
Kind of going on that same point,
And admittedly, before you get off on that, I do want to point out, this is all my opinion.
Yeah.
It may not affect you this way.
Yeah.
So, bear that in mind.
Yeah. Well, the problems I saw with the film, going back and watching it again, was it has some very, like you said, the facial expressions are so shocking. It's like,
yeah.
Wow!
Some of the times I'm not convinced the mouth movement matches what's being said.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the CG backgrounds didn't blend seamlessly with the cell animation, like at all.
Yeah,
it just stood out beyond belief. Okay, these are two different frames.
Oh, it's very obvious in some of them where it's like, it looks like the characters are floating on top of the picture because they're not following the curve of the room.
Yeah,
the one I'm mainly thinking of is the shot where they're in the old
palace,
the old ballroom.
Oh yeah,
and she's looking through it, and the song is about to. The song just ended. Once Upon December.
Yeah,
and they're saying, and they're talking to her, and all of a sudden. It's the thing where they come upon the idea that, this girl's going to play Anastasia for us. There's parts of this, like, it didn't look like the cells were stationary where they were supposed to. It kind of floated. It's,
okay.
This is weird. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I completely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. There are parts of this movie that I absolutely just adore. There's the Once Upon December scene.
Yeah, that's very well done.
That is extremely well done. The Key to Your Heart, the Paris song. Even though I didn't like the song,
it was animated well.
It was animated well. The art style itself, the background was just very eye catching. Even though there again, the cell animation, the CG animation didn't exactly fit together, but it was still beautiful to watch.
Yes.
It's like watching Star Trek the motion picture.
I can get that. Beautiful movie.
Beautiful movie.
Slow, horrible story. Not a very well done story, or not a very well executed story, but still a very beautiful movie.
Exactly. There again, be like, I love a lot of the character. I love a lot of the story. And there's... I think for me, sometimes I would look past the animation, which is very rare for me. Because I'm a guy who is so keen on visual.
Yes.
And I just fell in love with the story. I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with the characters and their journey. And
I think the main reason I may not have had that you had.
Yeah.
For one thing, this movie came out in 97. I was both in a I'm not a girl phase, I'm not a kid phase, so why am I watching cartoons? It makes it sound, let's say I'm not a girl phase, that makes it sound like I am a girl and I'm not. Yeah. It looks like I'm not going to watch girly stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch kids stuff because I'm an adult at the age of 13. Or however old I was.
I was a little bit older than you at that time.
I had 95, 96, 97. 12. I'd been 12 at that time. I was just, when I did see it, I remember wanting to see it because it's like, it was a new animated movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to just watch animation, but this looks like it's being well done. I kind of want to see it, but I don't want to admit I want to see it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I didn't see it when there was hype. I saw it later, and it was like, this is not a movie for me.
I got you.
And so, since it's not a movie for me, I'm a little more critical than maybe than I would be otherwise.
I understand that. There again, all movies are not designed for everyone.
Yes. I just hate, in the terms of this episode, that yours happened to be the one, first one we disagreed on it. I was the one who hated it. I hate that happened.
It happened.
It would have been nice if it was a movie that was different. I don't know why.
Oh,
I wouldn't care if I picked the good movie that I like that you hated, but for some reason, that's not how the rules went.
Well, eventually we will get to a movie that we both disagree that was probably a terrible movie. Eventually, yeah. We'll eventually have to go say, well, we put this on the list. Why did we put this on the list? To torture ourselves, maybe?
Well, I know there's one thing I want to put on there when we finally give up on only doing movies and do TV that I want to torture us with, because it'll be fun to torture us with it. But we're not there yet.
Alright. So, I think we have
reached the end
of this review. I believe so.
Do we consider this to be a family-friendly movie?
Yes.
I agree. There's some more adult humor that will go over the heads of kids. It's not risque, it's just the kind of thing a kid would get.
Yeah.
And an adult would go, oh, yeah, that's what they're referring to.
Yeah. I would kind of recommend, ever since this is an adult, not an adult film, but ever since we're not going to go there, it is a kid's film, but being a Don Bluth film, it does get dark.
Yes.
There is dark moments in the movie.
If there's one thing Don Bluth is known for, is let's scare the living daylights out of the children.
Yes. So, yes, definitely recommend it. If you have small children that get scared very easily by dark and spooky things,
or if they just hate bugs.
Or they hate bugs.
There's lots of bugs.
There's a lot of bugs. A lot of bugs. I hate bugs.
So, because I think you're going to give it the more favorable score. What's your score on this movie?
My score for Anastasia is, I'm going to give it a good solid 8.
Okay.
For the reason that, there again, this movie, I like the film. I've enjoyed it. I probably watch it every year.
There's a lot of movies you watch every year.
Yes, there is. There is. So,
have you reached 365 yet, so you can just watch one every day?
No, I haven't. I have not. It's one of those films I thoroughly enjoy. Thoroughly enjoy that. I'm not going to be one of those people to be like, oh, you need to go watch Anastasia. It's the best thing ever. But I hope not.
Because if I'm standing there next to you and you say that, I go, hang on.
Hang on a minute.
I know you're a fanboy, however.
Yeah, it's a personal movie that I love to death. Mm-hmm. And not everybody's going to agree with that.
Yeah.
So, what is your...
Well, my number's going to surprise you a little bit, because I have a feeling you think it's going to be very low.
Yeah.
It's not that low.
Okay.
I'm giving it a 5.
Okay, so...
middle
of the road.
I mean, to some degree, I still grade things like the school system grades things, where 70 is passing.
Okay.
So 50 is kind of like just below passing. It's like, there's a lot here that has potential.
Yes.
There's a lot of what I think there are a lot of missteps, in my opinion. But they did a good job in a lot of stuff that I really can't rate it lower than 5.
Mm-hmm.
But the mistakes I see make it to where I can't really go any higher.
I gotcha.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
But it's not that good, in my opinion.
Understood.
So, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Cellcast. This is being episode 7, or no, this is episode 6.
Episode 6.
This being episode 6, 2 of the movies that we put on our list at the very beginning have yet to be rolled.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to make sure that we review every movie within about 12 months of it, or 12 episodes of it showing up
on
our list. These 2 movies are going to grow to fill the spot. One will grow to fill the spot of Anastasia.
Okay.
So we will not be adding a new movie this week.
Okay.
When we do roll both of these movies away, we'll then add back in the movies that would have filled those spots.
Okay.
So previously, our number 1, which is the spot that will be filled this week, will be grown into this week, was Anastasia. Number 2, Batman: Return of the Caped Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Transformers the movie. Number 4, Big Hero 6. Number 5, Digimon the movie. And number 6, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Batman and Girl Who Leapt Through Time are the 2 movies that have been on here for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Because there's 2, I'm going to have Jacob roll. If it's even, the Batman's what will grow. If it's odd, Girl Who Leapt Through Time will grow. It's even, so it's Batman. Okay. So Batman is now set at 1 and 2. And now, since the movie was Jacob's, it's my turn to roll.
Go for it.
So, it's 3. So that is Transformers the movie.
Da-dum, dum, da-dum.
Not a bad choice.
No.
After we review Transformers, we'll have to roll again to see which one grows to fill its spot. Worst case scenario, one of those movies ends up taking all 6 by episode 12. So, if you want to find me, I am on Facebook. Just look for Drew Dodgen. I am also on Letterboxd. Letterboxd. I do reviews and lists on that website. I need to actually update some stuff because I do want to start including all the movies we've reviewed and give my reviews on those. I have not done that yet. But looking for me on there, I am at GGeorge759. If you see a Gorn and a Flower Patch, you've made it! Where can they find you, Jacob?
Alright. You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. Also, you can find my personal art page on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try, in air quotes, to try to draw every day. You can also find me on Twitter at Jacob Heron. One word, Jacob Heron. You can also find me on Instagram at Heron J, lowercase j, 82 Artist X. That's a tongueful.
Yes. At least yours makes more sense than my Letterboxd username.
Yeah, most time you'll find where I post daily art or just something that just pops up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's probably where you can find me.
Alrighty.
So where
they can find us together? Of course, check our Facebook group, which is the Cellcast. It is a closed group, so in order to view and talk with us in there, you'll have to join. We do that just to keep the robots out, because as much as we probably would love coupons to get movies at pennies on the dollar, we don't want to be advertised for that.
Right.
You can, of course, find us on our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. And you can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. please email us. We'd love to do a question and answer episode at some point.
Or a viewer request.
That too. Or we'll at least put it in the role.
Yeah.
So, that brings us to the end. This has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
In the dark of the night, Eva will find her. In the dark of the night, just before dawn. Revenge will be sweet when the curse is complete. In the dark of the night, she'll be gone.
Like, you're on your own, sir. This can only end in tears. Let's get out of here. Next time on
The Cellcast.
Get on with the ceremony! My fellow Decepticons, as your new leader, Who disrupts my coronation?
Coronation, Starscream? This is bad comedy.
Megatron? Is that you?
Here's a hint. Will anyone else attempt to fill his shoes?
What did he say his name was?
Galvatron.